Hey guys, what's up? NullRage here, bringing you a look at Cable's 52 review. I know you guys have waited for this for a long time, so have I. In fact, I am recording this at like almost 3 a.m. in the morning because I could not leave this wait until tomorrow. So let's go ahead and hop in and have a look at Cable. His synergy seems to have remained the same, holding its place as one of the most powerful synergies in the game, giving you 1% crit chance at both level 25 and 50. And his power tree, however, has changed a lot. He's got three skills here, or three trees here. One focused mostly on his Chrono Soldier skills, his ranged energy damage output. Ascan, I think I'm saying that correctly, is the scimitar that, or scimitar, his melee tree, and we'll go over each of these in depth here in a second, and his chosen Scion tree, focusing on his mental powers and telekinetic mind bullets. That's telekinesis, Kyle. All right, so he's got three specializations branching off of the veteran warrior skill. This is going to be the core of his skill tree here. Veteran warrior giving you a whole bunch of passive benefits, giving you you and your allies gain accuracy, giving you some damage rating, some critical hit rating, some critical damage, some increased move speed, and then a little bit extra sort of damage weaving bonus if you don't have any of your specializations. There, you can see you gain 20% mental damage for 8 seconds when you hit with energy powers, and 20% range damage when you hit the melee power. Oh, okay, so you can weave both your energy and your mental with, you know, both melee and ranged, and gain some nice damage bonuses from doing so. There is an active effect on this to apply vulnerability and weaken as well. Also, it will come in handy when targeting your ultimate. We'll talk about that in a bit. He's got three specializations here. Let's go over each of them before we get into the skills. Ordnance Discipline is going to focus mostly on increasing his Chrono Soldier tree here. It's going to give you Pulse Rifle is now a basic. It's going to unlock Particle Accelerator down here. And it's going to transform Viper Beam into Hyper Viper Beam, doubling its damage and doing some other stuff. Concussion Blast will gain some damage. Foresight Bomb only deals energy damage and benefits from Particle Accelerator's damage bonus. Damage over time is removed from Psychic Haze and Psychokinetic Barrier. Spirit Recovery is removed from... So, you know, it does have some detriments to choosing this specialization as well. In fact, you'll probably just not even want to use...
The future won't wait forever.
Psychic Haze or the... Spirit Recovery is moved from Techno-Organic Virus, but you know, you probably still want to use that one anyway. It just removes the Spirit Recovery. And then Scimitar Sweep is that one. Nope, that one is completely deactivated. Alright, so let's go ahead and hop in and have a look at his range tree here. Phase Magnum. Looks like it's just a piercing line attack. And this is a basic by default, I believe, but the Ordnance Discipline will cause Pulse Rifle somewhere here to also be a basic attack. Alright, so let's move on to the next skill, Plasma Submachine Guns, energy damage twice per second. Just blowing away anything in front of you. Oh wow, that's pretty incredible. I like that. Alright, and then we've got Concussion Blast, doing some energy damage and applying a stun. Has an 8-second cooldown, which is added by Ordnance Discipline, which of course increased its damage by 200% as well. Let's have a look. Cool. So normally that would be a spammable attack, but it has gained a cooldown and increased its damage thanks to our discipline. Alright, Hyper Viper Beam. Now this skill, normally, let's go ahead and deactivate this specialization just to look at the Viper Beam. It's going to do energy damage twice per second and give you a 25% damage reduction shield while you're channeling it. It's got a channel time of 1.5 seconds and a cooldown of 1.5 seconds. Alright, so let's turn that specialization back on. Now we've got Hyper Viper Beam, giving you even more energy damage, boosting that damage quite a bit, doubling the damage shield, and giving it an 8-second cooldown instead of the previous 1.5-second cooldown. The animation ended a little bit early there. Yeah, this is test center, so things are going to have bugs every now and then, but that was pretty cool. Here, let's do that one more time. I think it's supposed to also have a different animation, because that looks like the regular Viper Beam animation. Let me disable this. There we go. Alright, now we're back to regular Viper Beam. Let's see. Yeah, there will be a improved animation for Hyper Viper Beam, but you know, this is early test center, so things will be added over the next week or so. Alright, let's continue through the skill tree. We've got Pulse Rifle, which is now a basic thanks to our specialization, so the spirit cost has been removed. The energy damage, I think it's been reduced just a bit because it did get that basic tag. I'm not 100% sure though. We can deactivate it real quick, and nope, looks like the damage stays the same, it just reduces the spirit cost. Nice, cool. Critical and brutal damage is increased with this skill by 20%, and you see you've got a rate of fire 1% per rank. Okay, so more points in here will bring up the rate of fire quite significantly. Cool, cool. Alright, let's have a look at this pulse rifle skill. So it's, this is actually the basic that I use on live right now, pretty much. That's pretty cool. Alright, a Vortex Grenade, doing some energy damage twice per second, and slowing targets that are hit, targets in the area. I think it's just targets in the area, it doesn't apply a slow over time if they leave the area. Alright, Vortex Grenade. I like the new animation, this is pretty snazzy. And if you zoom in enough, you can actually see there's a little grenade on the ground. See that little spinny thing? That's pretty cool. This is a really nice, really well done animation. I like it. Alright, now we've got Particle Accelerator, which of course is not usable if you do not have the spec. You can see cannot be activated because Ordnance Discipline is disabled. But if you turn that discipline back on, then now we can use Particle Accelerator, which is going to do some energy damage, explosion. It's going to do some energy damage twice per second for 3 seconds, and cannot affect the same target more than once at a time. It looks like it does not have a cooldown, but it applies it applies a buff for 8 seconds to buff all of our other skills, and then a damage over time effect over 3 seconds. Alright. I'm a little bit confused though about this cannot affect the same target more than once at a time. Does that apply to the damage over time, the every 3 seconds, or the every 8 seconds with the 25% damage boost? It would be more understandable if those were the same. Maybe that 3 is actually supposed to be an 8. That way the damage over time duration coincided with the damage boost duration. Alright, so let's have a look. Particle Accelerator. You see it hits one target, it goes out. It's very similar to actually I think it currently uses the exact same animation. Now I'm sure the animation will be changed, but it currently is very similar to one of Gambit's skills, which sends out a card, attaches to the enemy, and then explodes later. So it looks like the skill is very much based off that skill. I'm sure the animation will be upgraded to something more Cable-esque before his release to live. Alright, moving on, we've got the Ascan discipline. This is going to be my favorite here. I think this is going to be the first thing that I go out and try and make a build for. Alright, let's go ahead and let's see. This is now a basic tag, this Scimitar Slash. Now let's put that there. And that. Alright. So, first up, we've got quick body slide. You know, it stays here. And this is Cable's teleport, you know, putting him like top of the charts as far as, you know, teleporters go. He's one of the most mobile characters in the game simply because of this. Once you get that spirit maintained, obviously. Alright, Scimitar Slash, doing some mental damage, and it's got base damage up to 25% to far away targets. So it's going to do increased damage to targets that are further away, or less damage to targets that are further away. I'm a little bit... And we got an incredible range for a melee skill. But I'm a little bit confused about what that damage versus away targets, or damage to far away targets, really means. Is it doing more or less damage to targets that are further away from me? Alright. Now we've got a Scimitar Sweep doing mental damage, and it's got a cooldown of 8 seconds. It's 4 seconds when hitting enemies affected by Swift Lunge. So you've got Swift Lunge over here. Is going to do some mental damage and a damage over time effect on it as well. So there you can see the 8-second cooldown going on Scimitar Sweep. Very cool animation on that though. But if you happen to hit a target that's affected by our dash, then you can see the cooldown is quite a bit shorter. So you want to use Swift Lunge and keep that mental dot up on targets in order to get that reduced cooldown on Scimitar Sweep. Which means that while you're in combat, you know, while you're doing your melee thing with Cable, you'll probably want to use Swift Lunge for most of your movement needs rather than Quick Body Slide. Maybe swapping out to Quick Body Slide when you really need to travel, but for, you know, the basic dodging, bobbing and weaving, then you'll just do some Swift Lunge. Keep that dot up and keep Scimitar Sweep going with the reduced cooldown. Alright, Impaling Thrust is next on our list. Mental damage, pretty significant amount, and it's got a cooldown of 8 seconds. You can see Impaling Thrust is one of the skills that benefits greatly from our Ascan Discipline, giving us 200% increased damage and adding the 8-second cooldown. Now, I love the animation on this. Let's have a look. Oh man, I need to turn off this. Oh, I can't turn it off. It's got a cooldown on it. I just want to see the animation a whole bunch. It's great. He slams his scimitar forward. This weapon is massive, by the way. Absolutely massive. It's great. And doing a big, powerful frontal line attack there. Alright, next up we've got the Foresight Bomb, and I used this a second ago and it seemed like the animation was a little bit funky, so you know, maybe we'll have to use our imaginations here, but it's going to do some mental damage and energy damage converted by Ascan Discipline. Alright, so it was doing energy damage. You can see if we have the specialization off, it does both energy and mental damage, but if we switch to Ascan Discipline, then it's only doing mental damage, because all of his damage in this spec is going to be mental focused. Alright, so then we've got also, it's gonna bomb taunts enemies while active. It's got an irresistible 1-second knockdown. Looks like only the damage goes up with time. It's got a bomb timer of 3 seconds. Alright, let's have a look. He's gonna, from what I know of the skill, I think he like travel hundreds of years into the future, obtain and deploy an advanced psionic explosive that draws enemies in before shattering minds and bodies alike. This used to be his old ultimate, I believe. And where did that damage come from? I don't know, there's some kind of something that's doing damage around me. Anyway, there's a bomb. That's cool. I like that. So he travels into the future, grabs this bomb, brings it back, and then just sets it off to explode. That's pretty great. I like that signature there. And it looks like it's going to have very different forms, this signature, based on what kind of discipline you've got. You can see if you've got Ordnance discipline, then it's going to do energy damage, because Chrono Soldier is all about energy damage. And if you've got mental discipline, then it's going to do mental damage, because Scion, or Chosen Scion, is all about mental damage, and we'll get to that in a second. Or if you've got them off, then it's going to do both energy and mental damage, because Zero Spec is designed to, you know, use all of your abilities. Your energy damage over here, your melee mental damage over here. That could be a pretty fun spec, and then having both of those damages going from Foresight Bomb. Alright, so continuing on with the Ascani discipline, we've got Scimitar Slam. It's going to do some mental damage and increase the damage of our Ascani Sun powers. Alright, here we go. Wait, he throws his scimitar up in the air and then catches it and slams. That's cool. One more look at that animation. Oh no, even better. He throws it up and then directs it towards the ground to slam down with his telekinetic powers. That is amazing. Excellent. Love that skill. Very well done on the animation there. And that's going to be a mainstay in every melee rotation, giving you that extra boosted damage for all of your other melee skills. That's going to be an interesting spec to play around with. I'm looking forward to it. Alright, moving on, we've got the Chosen Scion. Now, just because I'm going through these skills and, you know, have this specialization with these skills, and this specialization with these skills, this specialization with this skills, doesn't mean that they're necessarily restricted to these specializations. You know, you can use other skills. You'll just have to be careful about which ones you choose to use, as some of them will gain detrimental effects. For instance, the Spirit Covery is removed from Techno-Organic Virus with a with this mental discipline here. Alright, so Techno-Organic Virus is going to regenerate some HP. It's going to give you 10% damage negation right off the bat. Pretty nice. Defense, regenerate 100% of your maximum health and spirit when you are defeated, and it has a cooldown of 5 minutes on that effect. You can see here the scaling on this. It's also got invulnerability duration. I believe that's... when does that apply? I guess that applies after you regenerate. It's also got an active effect on it, giving you some brutal strikes, some brutal damage, and again, tuning does not seem to be done on this because brutal damage would be a little bit higher, probably at least 600, I'd say. Let's see, and doubles the passive regen when you activate this, and gives you some attack speed as well. It's got a buff duration on that of 16 seconds and a cooldown of 18 seconds. You can see neither of those, the buff duration or the cooldown, are affected, but the raw damage numbers are. Alright, let's use this. So you'll probably want to use this every cooldown. It looks like I think this is just the buff effect that's giving me the increased brutal strike and brutal damage. I don't think you don't gain that invulnerability duration when you activate it. I mean, we can go make sure. Let's be 100% certain.
Hail Immortal Hydra.
Am I invulnerable? No, I'm certainly not invulnerable. Alright, that hurt. Alright, so yeah, you do not gain that invulnerability when you activate it, only, I guess, after reviving is when that invulnerability duration applies. Alright, next up we've got Psychic Haze, mental damage twice per second, immobilization, and a slow. Let's have a look at all this stuff. Let's go ahead and put it on the bar here. Alright, Psychic Haze is going to do some mental damage. and then a damage over time. Also immobilizes, very good skill, and no cooldown on that either. So that's just going to be something you want to keep that dot up, keep that going. And it looks like I feel like the mental damage, the damage might be a damage over time, might be a little bit lower than it should be. I don't know. Scaling probably hasn't been done yet. This is very early test center, so that'll get worked out. Alright, Mind Bullets has become a ranged, or a basic ability, thanks to our mental discipline here. And it's going to do some mental damage. It's got an attack speed of 2.9. Let's go ahead and have a look. So he's just going to fire out some Mind Bullets with his psionic powers here. It's pretty cool. Alright, then we've got a Psychokinetic Barrier. It's going to do mental damage twice per second. It's going to slow and weaken targets that are hit. Can maintain up to 2 areas at a time. Yeah. There you go. That's pretty cool. I like that. And is this the same skill that reflects projectiles? Nope, not anymore. It used to reflect projectiles, but it does not seem to do that anymore. Enemy projectiles passing through deal 25% less damage. So it's not 100% reflection anymore. It's just it reduces the damage of projectiles that pass through it by 25%. That honestly seems a bit more fair than what it was before, because I remember my Cable with 9k HP going through and soloing Cosmic Terminals strictly because of this skill right here. Just hiding behind that and firing my, well, here. Something similar to this. Yeah, this was basically my playstyle, is hang out behind the wall and fire through the wall, and nothing could touch me, man. Even though I had, like, retarded low stats. Alright. Telekinetic Repulsion is next up in our tree, giving us some passive dodge rating and tenacity, some projectile deflection as well. Coupling with this, you're going to be, projectiles are going to be pretty much nothing when you're in Chosen Scion spec. Alright, when enemies enter melee range, okay, there it is. That's what the damage every once in a while that's been going on, that right there. When they enter melee range, they take damage and get knocked back. Alright, so that's what's been going on, what's been doing that random damage every so often. It's got a cooldown on that effect of 6 seconds. And then we've got an active effect here, giving you crowd control immunity. Boom. Immune to crowd control. I kind of like that whole, when they enter melee range, they take some damage and get knocked back. It gives you a nice upper hand. Initiating the fight with some damage already on the enemy. That's pretty good. Alright, Psionic Illusion is our next skill here, and it has been modified quite a bit by Mental Discipline, upgrading it from just the one little taunt dummy to the ability to maintain 2 of these decoys at a time, and allowing the decoys to attack. You can see their stats here. Their stats will increase the damage they do as well as the health and defense with points put into the skills. Alright, it's going to do some mental damage and then apply a dot as well. Let's go ahead and summon out some of those psionic illusions here. There's one. You can see he's going to attack this guy. It looks like they haven't added the sound effects for him yet. But this is pretty cool. I like this. And you can maintain 2 of those at a time. So this psionic illusion spec might be pretty cool. Is this a summon skill? It is tagged as summon. However, a lot of times with, when a character only has one skill that is a summon skill, for instance, with this character, this would be the only one. It's better in my opinion, and the devs have started to come around to this too, that they will allow the character stats to scale the damage instead of having to spec in, well, gear into summon damage. And since he's only got this one summon skill, I'm hoping that they choose to do that as well, having his stats, or the damage of his illusions here, increase based off of his own stats, as opposed to having to stack summon damage. Alright, moving on, we've got Telekinetic Overload. It's going to do some mental damage and apply a knockdown. It's also going to increase the damage of all of our Scion powers. Let's have a look. That's pretty cool, I like that. You can see it's got that cooldown of about 6 seconds, lining up with all of the other... Well, I guess this one doesn't even have a cooldown, does it? Scimitar Slam does, though. Lining up with the rest of those, giving you some that 25% damage increase for the rest of your skills, making all your other stuff do a lot more damage. Cool, cool. Alright, so that was all of his abilities. I guess we gotta have one more look at, or continue on with his ultimate here. Now before I do this, I want to make sure that I get this on the bar, Veteran Warrior here, because Grey Malkin Bombardment allows you to signal the Celestial AI Professor aboard your orbital space station to bring the full brunt of its weapon systems to bear, devastating the area with psionic bombs and a huge terraforming beam. You're going to do some energy damage twice per second. You're just going to have that terraforming beam can be directed with Veteran Warrior. You know what I'm saying?
Pick your targets and take them down!
Use this Veteran Warrior to guide it around. Again, this has the active effect of applying vulnerability and weaken, and also making Cable talk a lot. Alright, so we're going to do some energy damage and drop some bombs and all kinds of stuff. This is going to be pretty cool. I can't wait. Let's have a look. What? And you can see the beam targeting wherever I tell it to with Veteran Warrior. I don't know what's going on with these bombs. Why are they dropping over here though? I was gonna make it go over here. Anyway, that is gonna be a very cool ultimate, especially if the bombs, you know, actually drop where I've got the place targeted. I don't know why the bombs were dropping over here. Maybe they're dropping over here, I just couldn't see them because I was too focused on the whole beam doing energy damage. But anyway, that is going to be a great ultimate and a very, very stand out and make you notice it kind of ultimate, you know? And I love that it doesn't stop you from doing whatever your character is supposed to do anyway. You can just, you know, throw it, and then it does its own damage. You know, you trigger it, and then you go back to doing your regular stuff, whether it's shooting with your Chrono Soldier tree, smacking people down with your Ascani scimitar, or, you know, being the chosen Scion. Alright, pretty cool, pretty cool. That was Cable, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you guys thought of the video, and make sure to rate, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos like this. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take it easy, have a good one, peace.